I am of the pure mind of God. I am the resurrection and the life in my body, my finances, my relationships, and my world. I qualify everything in my world with perfection. I am perfection. I am this perfect day, and the life that lives in me is the light that cannot fail. I accept only God's perfection, His good, in my outer circumstances. I know in my heart that God is all in all. I am absolutely not concerned about what happens, because I know wonderful things are happening now.
Hello everyone, this is Vernita. I just want to give my experience at the workshop last November in Wisconsin with Matthew David Hurtado's workshop. I attended the workshop with fibromyalgia, very sick, the fog, in pain, and I believe it was the first day. He did the entrainment set, and I experienced immediate relief from fibromyalgia. 2 days later, after returning home, I continued the entrainment sets for 1 week. I'm honest, just for 1 week. And I'm looking for like side effects from fibromyalgia: pain, dizziness, muscle pain, the fog, all the crap that goes with fibromyalgia, and no symptoms. That was November, December, January, February. I am absolutely pain-free, medication-free, no medications, zero, nada, and no fog, no nothing. If you ever have the opportunity to attend one of his workshops, do so, because a miracle will happen. Attend. Vernita Hamblin. Fibromyalgia is gone completely. Bye.
Well, hello there. I don't know why I keep saying the word hell-o. I should know better than that. Don't follow the herd. They're always wrong. Even in their language, they say hell-o. Good morning, as in they just woke into a sleep. They're mourning the good. Okay, so what is that good? Well, the good is the spirit. It's the eternal. Anyway, I'm out here with the kids. We're on the ice. So this is all ice down here. It's kind of cool because we just come out here on the lake and get our fresh air in. Sabrina's over there. Just got done doing my meditation that I do every morning. So my ritual is I go for a walk every morning. I do my grounding, my meditation, my affirmation of good. And I center myself in that place every morning, because that is the only way for me to start the day is on the right note. So, with that said, I finished the last chapter today of the new book, Trust, the Most Powerful Force in the Universe. So I'm pretty excited because that's finally done. And it was right on schedule. Actually, I was 2 days behind schedule, which is pretty good for me because I put a pretty aggressive schedule in place. And 2 days behind is not bad because I'm still on time for the official launch on January 5th. So on January 5th, if you want to participate, just go on Amazon and do a download of the book and help out with the launch and all that good stuff. And I'll probably do something unique and special if you want a copy. I do suggest you get a physical copy in your library. And the physical copies that I'll do a promotion where I'll sign your book for you, so it's, you know, autographed and in your library, and then it's really good stuff. It's the best content that I've ever done in my life so far. It's been battle tested. You know, I've used all this content. It's not theory, it's biblical wisdom that I've been using on a ritual, day-to-day, habitual basis, and, you know, just taught it in the Spiritual Millionaire 30-day boot camp. For those of you who took that boot camp, congratulations. We're just coming to the end of that as well in a few days. And, you know, you'll be able to have this book as your follow-up resource guide. And so one of the things that happens a lot of the time is that people, they really, you know, the saying goes is you underestimate what you can do in 5 years, but you severely overestimate what you can do in 1 year. Well, it's true, because what happens is when you dial in a way of being, a certain attitude towards life, this is a major shift, okay? It's like, you know, it's like imagine if that were the ocean and you were just way out, you know, miles and miles and miles in the ocean where all you see is just, you know, ocean. You have to have some sort of compass to guide you where you're going. And so your attitude toward life is the compass. Now, the way of the world, the way of human ignorance is that you've been conditioned as to, you know, that it's you, it's all you, it's all your power, your will, etc. And the idea here is that is misqualifying where the power is. The power is God's, and He doesn't share His power with no other, and all of the blessings are already here. So what it is you line your compass up, and it takes you right into the place where you receive, where you are the receiving of those desires. Remember, seek ye first the kingdom and the righteousness, and these things will be added unto you. Well, that righteousness are the fruits of the Spirit, okay? That's my big discovery that I came into with the Spiritual Special Forces Workshop is, you know, I sat down, I wrote this whole manual that we went through, and I deployed it the first time in November of 2019 in that workshop, and I still had not yet gotten the full depth of all of those teachings. So it's taken me a year of implementing these, you know, changes in direction, if you will, to experience some monumental achievements in my life, okay? Now, what I'm telling you is that these victories are available to you because there's nothing supernatural that I've done. There's nothing extraordinary that did this for me. It's not because I'm 25 years old and I'm in, you know, the youth, and it's not because I'm 55 and I have the wisdom of an old sage, and it's not because I'm an Ivy League educated person, because I'm not. And it's not any of the things that the world tells you are so critically important for success. All that I did this year, and without putting specifics into the equation, I achieved 2 of my biggest goals this year. Okay, but without putting specifics into it, what I did differently is I focused my entire energy and effort into shifting my reflection. Okay? The big idea for me was moving out of this law of attraction idea into the law of reflection. What do I need to actually attract if God already gave me all of His inheritance? Well, in essence, nothing. What I have to do is I have to be the source of what I claim that I'm desiring, and as the source of that thing, well then, it is nothing but a formality that I would have it in my hands and use for my experience. Okay? And so that formality, that gap between, where you stand and where what you desire happens to be, is, remember, just shifting that compass a little bit and then allowing the ship to come right into port. See? And what you're doing is you're expressing something God is doing. Okay, so the human five senses, sight, smell, hearing, taste, touch, this is the dream of material fashion form living. This is where all the deficiency comes. Everything that is deficient, that shows up in your outer, including your physical, is coming to you to receive the fulfillment of the Christ within. That's what it's all about. So, if you're going to be the fulfillment of the Christ within, and you're going to fill the deficiency, you have to fill that deficiency with life. And so what is life? Well, life is love, peace, joy, kindness, goodness, gentleness, meekness, faith, self-control, temperance. The fruits of the Spirit are life. And so what happens is, being adulterated means that something in your peripheral comes deficient, whether it's an ache or a pain in the body, or it's, the bill in the mail, or, a relationship trouble, a fallout, something shows up in your reflection, okay? That's showing you what's going on in the heart, okay? Maybe not from yesterday, but it's showing you something that has been carried throughout the course of what you call time and space, that is coming to you as a mirroring reflection to be corrected. So, here's an idea, here's an example. So let's say I have a relationship trouble that comes into my life. Well, the question is how have you been acting? What is your stance on this position that you're taking? Okay, most people say, well, I'm a little upset about it because, you see, the because is like, here's my logical alibi for the bull story that I'm about to give you. Why is it a bullshit story? Because God didn't do it. God's not the one that is attacking you. God's not the one oppressing you. God is not the one that did anything other than divine love and all the other fruits of the Spirit. So your story is in direct contradiction to God's story. See, it's His story, and your history is not His story. So you have a ignorance, illusion gap. So that ignorance of the Father is the cause of all suffering, ignorance of the Father. And so we go through life reacting the same way over and over and over, and you know what? The names and the faces change, but the story remains the same. We get repeat after repeat after repeat episodes to go through all of these experiences, and from these experiences, we get another opportunity to correct the deficiency. But see, we think that life is happening to us. So in our human drunkenness, we say, oh, well, that's happening to me. Well, if you want to collapse time and space and, bring the power, take your power back, okay, you're going to have to come into counter space, come into the, into the immediate moment. And in this immediate moment, change the reflection. Okay, yeah, I used to be angry. Guess what? That doesn't work. Anger only produces more discord in my life. Life is not happening to me, it's happening through me. Okay, good. I've learned my lesson. Aha, there's that old trickery again. There's that old same problem showing up. This time, I'm going to show up and I'm going to express kindness. So I'm going to be kind. I'm going to be kind. I'm going to be gentle. I'm going to see the goodness in that person. I'm going to be the goodness in their life. I'm going to express love. I'm going to hold my peace and let God take over the situation. And I'm going to follow the fastest path to my joy in every moment. Well, that sure is different, isn't it? That's a different way of approaching life. Well, the human ego says, well, now you're crazy. Why would you do all that when it's obvious it's them doing it to you? Like, are you dumb? Your mind thinks you're dumb. Well, here's the idea, is that your mind is blind. Your human mind is looking to a world, okay, that is 99.99997% empty space, and it is telling you through the five senses that this exists in time and space, and that it is real, and the past and future are where it's at. And it's always trying to suck you out into the past or move you into the future and trying to pull you right out of this moment. Okay, but now is the time of salvation. And so as long as you get pulled out into past or future and you go into your reasoning alibis and all of your logical excuses of all the who, what, when, where, why, and how that you think are happening, guess what? You just scheduled another prolonged delay in your process of experiencing what it is you said you wanted. See, what you say you want is really an expression of what's already been given to you. You just have to align with it. But when you experience that lack or that want, you enter into the sins of the flesh, okay? And these sins of the flesh put you under the law of the flesh, okay? Under the curse. And remember, the Spirit, the law of the Spirit is what sets you free from the law of sin and death. Now, isn't it ironic that the law of the Spirit in Romans 8 talks about sets you free from the law of sin and death, and in the book of Galatians, it talks about how the fruits of the Spirit, there is no law against those. See how it all adds up? You see peace, love, joy, kindness, gentleness, meekness, all of these fruits of the Spirit. There is no law against such. No law against them. What does that mean? It means that when you occupy those, when you, in other words, are the direct reflection of God in the mirror, see, God's doing joy, peace, love, kindness, gentleness, meekness, all these things. God is doing this. So see how my reflection in this camera is doing exactly what I'm doing? Is the camera holding the power, or am I doing it? I'm doing it, right? Well, that's right. And so what we do is we transfer all of the burdens and cares of this life over to God, and then we just get in the reflection of what God's doing, and we start to come from that reflection, and we step into the world of our ignorant five senses, and we say, you know what? Today is the day I'm going to experience love. And so I have this technique that I came up with, and what you do is you take 7 of these fruits of the Spirit, and you rotate a different one each day, Sunday through Saturday, and you focus on that one for each particular day. In every moment, every segment of that day, you carry yourself through your, human drunkenness and all of the time and space reality that you live in. And what you do is you hold steadfast to something God is doing, regardless of what's happening out there, and then you allow God to take the wheel. Jesus take the wheel. See, so today would be, let's say it's kindness. And I have a great story for this. Okay, God is so good. God is so good. So the other day, I was teaching the class, the spiritual workshop boot camp, and I was teaching people this lesson and showing them how to do this and align with the fruit that they needed to find. I showed them how to find the fruit they needed to correct the deficiency that's showing up in whatever circumstance they're in. Okay, it's a process of just remote influence where you just know, you don't think, you just pop, you just know. And so what you do is you snap yourself into alignment with the self-entrainment technique, and you start to walk and scale up that fruit, okay? So for an example, and I'll get to the story here quick. Let's say somebody is experiencing a constant business problem that won't go away. And I say, well, where's the good in that, right? Oh, well, there is no good in that. I say, good. So you're not reflecting goodness. Well, why don't you try reflecting goodness and see what happens? And they say, well, okay, I'll do that. And I say, so from 0 to 10, how much goodness are you doing right now? And they're like, oh, well, how much good do you see in that example right now? Probably a 2 at the most, right? Not good enough, because guess what? A 2 out of 10 sucks. So what I want you to do is I want you to do a set, and I want you to scale up that 2 to a 10. I want you to express a 10 of goodness by activating the cellular memory and the physiological state of that in your memory stick. And I show you how to do that in my new book. I give you the whole free training that I used to teach in the workshops. And you work on that, and you scale that up. And you leave the details to God, because now you are expressing the will of God, which are His fruits, and you're also scaling up the level of that expression, so it's going to scale up the level of your receiving what God has already given you. You see that? So what will happen is When you're in a 2 out of 10, you're in a vibrational alignment. And in that alignment, everything that belongs to that alignment is going to continue to show up. So it doesn't matter what your thinky does, okay? You'll come up with a million reasons why you're right and the other person's wrong, or maybe why you're wrong and the other person's right. It doesn't matter. It's all dumb. Because what you're doing is you're creating time-space illusion. You're moving into past and future, and there's no power in the past or future. It's all right here in this moment. You have to harness this moment, and you have to express in this moment the correction for the deficiency. And it's always a sin of the flesh deficiency and a fruit of the spirit correction. So simple, but yet nobody does it. I'm going to say nobody because some people just inherently know this. Most people don't. So the other day, here's the story. I was thinking about an issue in my life. And you know, it's so crazy because sometimes we don't see, we're like fish in the water. We don't even know we're in the water. It's like, I know this, I teach this, I'm really good at it. And I'm like, okay, which fruit is it? So I'm walking to the grocery store and I look over and there's this white vehicle and it says, license plate says, be kind. I'm like, oh, praise you, God. I'm like, kindness, there it is. And then I look back and I trace thought and circumstance back, like in the, the book, As a Man Thinketh in His Heart, so is he. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Well, what comes out of the heart? The issues of life. Everything comes out of the heart. Well, what needs to come out of the heart to correct the issues of life? The fruits of the Spirit, not the sins of the flesh. So I said, you know what? That's it. It's kindness. So, go to the technique, do the self-entrainment technique, get into kindness, and start scaling kindness. Get it up. So I looked at my life and I said, okay, how kind was I being in that situation out of 0 to 10? About a 2. About a 2. No wonder that situation wasn't going away. Because I was only experiencing and expressing a level 2 out of 10 in kindness. I was actually being quite harsh and brash, and you know what? That doesn't fly. You can't fool God. You're either the reflection of God or you're outside of the reflection of God. You see, walking in ignorance, God's like, hey, where'd you go? And then you're like, oh, there you are. You're expressing kindness again. Now you're going to get the benefits of being my reflection. You see? That's how it works. And so I'm scaling kindness. And so what I teach in the book, and you'll find this in the chapter, is that, let's say today's kindness, right? So today it's all about kindness. So I look for what you contemplate, you become. What you set your affection on is your destiny. It becomes your destiny, okay? It rewards you back. Get that? And so I'm going to contemplate kindness everywhere I go, in every environment. I'm looking for it, and I'm expressing it myself. And as long as I make that continuity of I'm looking for it, and I am the source of it, then what happens is it starts to become the fabric of my DNA. Now, as it becomes that fabric of my DNA, it starts to correct all of the deficiencies that I've created for years and years and years and years by walking in blind ignorance. So when that message hits you, when it hits you, and you apply it, then you'll take full command and you'll seize the power in your life. The very first time in your life that you'll seize full command of the ship. Okay? You didn't know how to seize command of the ship. They told you out there in all these law of attraction seminars that it had everything to do with your thinking and all of this, other stuff, right? Well, sure, it has everything to do with your correcting your thought, but guess what? I can say, you know what? That's a nice person over there, but I can go act mean to them, and if I do, I'm not expressing what God is doing, and therefore, guess what? I'm out of alignment. I'm no longer there. God's not seeing His reflection, so guess what? As soon as I'm kind again, now I'm making the continuity of good. See, the truth about relationships is that you're only having a relationship with yourself. That's it. You're expressing something within yourself and pressing it out and popping you into different characters, backdrop characters, if you will, and they're reflecting to you something going on inside of you. And so if something amazing shows up, you're like, I own that. That person is super funny. I see that in myself. Somebody shows up and they're a terrible, terrible person. Whoa, stop and correct the deficiency. What's so terrible about him? Well, They're so negative. They're so awfully negative. All they do is complain, complain, complain. Oh, really? And what is that reflecting? Well, there's no goodness in it, right? So maybe I should make goodness my thing tomorrow. And you go through each day of the week. See, and if you stay on a cycle doing this, you take 7 of these, and the ones that I would recommend, and I'll just go through an example for you, is, Sunday, let's do peace. Let's do peace on Sunday. Monday, let's do love. Tuesday, let's do joy. Wednesday, let's do goodness. Thursday, let's do gentleness. Friday, let's do kindness. And Saturday, we can do meekness. Okay? Now, if you just flip through those again and again and again every week, just taking one per day and making your entire focus of that day, forget all that crap about going out there and chasing all the stuff that you want in your life and all that. That is just selfish desire, and it always brings around suffering. Okay, that's what the Buddha discovered, and all these things is that, when they said life is suffering. Well, wanting is suffering. You should not want for any good thing. Remember, seek first the kingdom, and these things will be brought onto you. You can learn to live wholly separate from the dream of the 5 senses, because that's where the life divine is. What I'm telling you is, when it says Jesus take the wheel, here's what it means. Your mind is a steering wheel that's not hooked up to the car. So, when you get in your mind all day long and you're chasing all the things you want in this world, you're steering back and forth with all your reasoning, guess what? You're doing nothing, because it's not even hooked up to the car. You can't add anything to God, and you can't take anything away from God. You can only experience what God's already given you. So when would be a good time right now to start expressing what the will of God is, and using your free will to align with that will of God? Because that's the highest form of action that you could possibly take. That is the highest form of action you could possibly take. So why would you not condense that action down to one single point of focus every day, so that you could refine how you show up in the world like a precision mechanic, and you could tweak that part of the engine every day over many, many weeks, okay? And recycle Monday through Sunday, one new fruit of the Spirit. You take one every day and you focus on it all day, focus on expressing it everywhere you go, and look for it in everything, because it always exists, because God is omnipresent. God is omnipotent and omniscient. The only mind, the only power, the only presence. Therefore, the fruits that God is doing are always present. So what you look for, you will find. Now, contrast that to what you were doing and what most people are doing, and what the so-called truthers continue to do. They couldn't be further from the truth, because they're not reflecting goodness in all things. They're telling you all of the wicked, evil things that are happening over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And so by default, they've been ensnared by the father of lies in the same realm as all of the ones who are actually doing the bad things. Now, how could that possibly be? Because what you contemplate, you become. What you judge, you end up experiencing through yourself. You become what you judge. And so, if you do what I suggest, if you have enough courage to do this, just as a trial experiment, give it 2 months. Give it 2 months. What do you got to lose? Okay, today is kindness. I'm going to be kind to everybody. If they yell at me and cuss me out and tell me to put a mask on, and they're going to throw me out and they're going to do all this stuff, I say, oh, God bless you. I hope you have a wonderful day. God loves you. And I mean that. God really does love you. And I just want you to know that I'm not upset at all. You know what? I really want you to have a good day. I'm going to go and do my thing. See, I can hold my kindness, right? They're not even there. That's the whole point. They are not even there. This is a simulation. This is a simulation. If you only knew, this is a simulation.
Are you feeling embarrassed and stuck because you can't focus or concentrate
I have a confession to make. I spent years unable to think clearly, like I was in a fog. I was going through the motions, running my companies, and I hated feeling groggy and mentally sluggish. I couldn't get ahead like this. It's no secret, the powers that be want us dumbed down. Chemicals, fluoride, our brains are under siege, and we are experiencing lower IQs. But now there's a weapon to fight back and win. Introducing DNA Evolve, a revolutionary breakthrough in a category of cognitive enhancers called nootropics. I've been using DNA Evolve and couldn't feel better. For me, it works. It feels great to get things done again and get ahead. Try a free sample for yourself at DNAEvolveSample.com. That's DNAEvolveSample.com. Supplies are limited, so go to DNAEvolveSample.com right now.